completely that we had been double-crossed, because stellarium, following lunar astrology, are where the planets actually are. And when I would do the charts based on lunar astrology, and they were just 15 minutes, just give me your birthday, let me tell you what I'm seeing in the stars, and you tell me if it's right. Little 15-minute charts, and one after the other, bam, 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 bam. Most of the people had been double-crossed, and they were really amazed, one, to find out that they were a different sign, and then to find out that the new sign actually fit them a lot better than what they were told in solar astrology. So I just kind of went with it. I still wasn't sure about it. It took me another maybe a year and a half before it really clicked for me that what was going on was not solar or lunar, but there was another way, and it was alchemical astrology. And once I picked up on the symbology and realized that, hey, they're both wrong. We have to they're both the broad way. We need the straight and narrow path. And when I found that, then everything fell into place. There is no more guesswork. It's clear just watching the mystery schools that follow the solar pillar, and then you have mystery schools that follow the lunar pillar. And they war with each other for thousands of years. And then all of a sudden, at 9/11, there's only one. There's no more solar and lunar astrology. They have combined them. They took down the two pillars and made them one. And anybody that does astrology knows that's not going to work. That only works during an eclipse. That's the only time that works. Well, the only thing that was unique about the 26th is it's the opposite of a solar eclipse. It's a lunar eclipse. In the solar eclipse, the sun is overshadowed by the moon. And in a lunar eclipse, the sun denies any light to the moon. Just no light. So it's the pendulum swinging the other way. And if they were going to do a ritual, that's when they should have done it. But these groups that we're dealing with, the black and the white, because I can't comment on the yellow and the red because I don't understand the language, I don't understand their astrology, and any information coming out of China is off limits to us. So, but I know what the Vatican does, what both hands of the Vatican does. The Black Pope does his rituals when the moon is in Taurus, and the White Pope does his rituals when the moon is over here in Ophiuchus. Now, I wasn't able to answer all of you, but I wonder why you keep falling for this. Why you keep falling for this hype. Somebody tells you something. Didn't you even bother to look and do the research yourself? Which I get it. Most of you just want to ask me and let me do it for you. You need to be learning to do this for yourself. You should have been able to look inside yourself and knew that was hype. You should have known. Things just don't happen. Things don't happen like that unless they are engineered. And when I've already showed you, when the Vatican or its other hand, remember there are two popes, a white pope and a black pope, they're going to play, the white pope is Pisces and the black pope is Virgo. That's what Freemasonry really is. Freemasonry in this age is Pisces and Virgo, black and white. But they're still trying to play like they're Taurus. They're trying to play like they're Taurus and Scorpio. And that's where the rituals occur. That's where they do them. What we call Freemasonry, or the Black Pope, he does his rituals in Taurus. What we call the Vatican, or the White Pope, he does his rituals when the moon is in the upper house of Scorpio, that we call Ophiuchus, that they've tried to make a 13th sign. Just ridiculous. If you'll keep your eye on what they're doing, you're going to learn more from the actions of what the two sides of the Vatican does than you can anything. Now there's their counterpart. You still have, being in this mutable age of the mutable cross, we still have to deal with Jupiter in Sagittarius and Mercury in Gemini. In the masculine aspect, in the Western tradition, we have Jupiter in Pisces and Mercury in Virgo on the feminine axis. But there's still that's the black and white. In the Western tradition, we deal with the black and white. But in the Eastern tradition, they have the yellow and the red. They have Sagittarius and Gemini. Sagittarius, yellow fire, Jupiter, and Gemini, red, Mercury, for air sign. And that is, you'll find those colors in Tibet. That's where you'll find, they'll have the red over the yellow. And then the other group is the yellow over the red. The Vatican splits them, one's black, one's white. But theirs are intermingled. You don't know which one you're going to get. One group is Jupiter over Mercury, and the other one is Mercury over Jupiter, depending on where the colors lay. Everything's done by signs and symbols. Now, I moved from that. This is when I found that trunk load full of Masonic books, and there were older ones too, from the turn of the last century, 1800s into the 1900s. They were that old. And a trunk full of them. I mean, well over several hundred books. And I just delved into those. Now, most of them were what I call Mormon-based Freemasonry, is what it was. There were Mormon Bibles in there and Mormon Lodge stuff. So when I first got into learning all of this, that's what I learned, was the Mormon thing, because those were the books I had. Now, I want to show you, we're in the age of miry clay. Virgo is miry clay. It's mutable earth, miry clay. And this is the iron that goes down the middle of it. So this iron of fire and air is overruling here we have Virgo and Pisces. That makes this Sagittarius and Gemini. But this thing right here overrides the Sagittarius Gemini. It's only mutable. This is cardinal. So it won't stand. And let me explain it to you in religion. This is a Chris mark. We've already done the Chris, T, and a T. Christianity. Christianity. We've done this. This is a Chris mark. And it represents the church. It represents her. It's a feminine sign. It represents the woman, the church. Now, this guy comes in. This is the God of the Old Testament, the God of fire, right there. That's Molech, top and center. This down here is what you would call Lucifer, right? So this whole thing flips upside down. When Peter goes to die, this cross that this thing is on is flipped. So Molech goes down and Lucifer rises. So, but this thing can't stand. You can't, and let me show you why it can't stand. Because this is Mercury and Jupiter, and they rule money. They rule money. Mercury rules money. Mercury, commerce. Mercury rules the pharmaceutical industry. He rules all advertisement, all media, all television, all radio. Everything in the airwaves is ruled by Mercury. And they want to mix war. They're making money off of war. That is iron mixed with clay. Is trying to make damn money off of war, which is what they're doing right now. Pitting one side against the other. You always got to have the adversary, and the bankers are part of this. They play both sides. The bankers are actually holding up Molech so that they can profit off both sides. It doesn't matter who wins or loses the war. The bankers rolling in the dough. And it's fiat currency. Gemini, fiat currency. It's out of thin air. Fiat. There's nothing to back it. This on the mutable cross, there's no gold in this age. There's no sun in this age. There's no pure gold anywhere. That's coming. And I know you all hate it, but just as in this age of Pisces, we look up to Virgo, the Virgin, the Church, Catholicism. That was supposed to be the true religion, but as long as it remained the X, it was. But when they brought in this guy, let me show you what else. This is Christianity. This is Judaism. So this Judeo-Christian shit that so many Christians have bought into, and they're upholding this little horn that they don't have a clue about. Well, this is when it all comes down. Let's hear what Daniel has to say about it. Because this stone that's cut without hands, don't you know what that is? A stone is a star. What star in your head's cut without hands? It's your third eye. And it broke them into pieces. And the age of Aquarius comes. Fomalhaut, that star, Thalem, cuts all this into pieces. Then was the iron, Mars, and the clay, Virgo, and the brass, Taurus, fake Freemasons, and the silver, Cancer, water, the moon, Pisces, and the gold, the age of Leo. This goes all the way back. All of this, all the way back to Leo. Nebuchadnezzar is that gold. And it's broke to pieces together and became like chaff of the summer in the threshing floors. All of these ages are fixing to be wiped out. We're told we will not even remember them. And the wind carried them away. Wind, air, carried them away, and no place was found for them. And the stone, the star that smote the great image, became a great mountain. Great mountain is the same thing as saying Capricorn, cardinal earth. That became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. And this is the dream and the interpretation thereof before the king. And it's all astrology. Every bit of it. It's not a who done it. It's a when it was done. It's not a who. It's a when. Most of the time we're asking where, and it's a when. This time it's a who and it's a when. The sun itself. And we just go into the war. But this, I wanted these verses to show you they're talking about the same thing. They're talking about the iron mixed with the clay right here. The man-child to rule the nations with a rod of iron. Well, now we're in the fish in the spring equinox. We have the two fishes are in the spring equinox. And it's being ruled by, you look up again, that virgin is back in the vault. She's not in the vault. She's in the wilderness. And It's time for him to rule, and he's ruling with this rod of iron, which is war. And he feeds her this 2,300 score days for 3.5 zodiac signs. 3.5 zodiac signs. The woman's in the wilderness. She doesn't come back into power or into the face of the beast until she hits the winter solstice. And there's a war in heaven. Blah blah. We'll go through all of this later in a different presentation, because I don't want to get away from what we're talking about is this symbol and how it won't stand and what takes it down. It's the star Fomalhaut. It's the age of Aquarius rising in the spring equinox. It's the son of man. It's the man in the sign of sun in the spring equinox. It's Aquarius stops this and breaks it into pieces. And that's what's going to happen. That's the shift that's coming. And what happens? What's Aquarius about? Aquarius is about remembering. Aquarius is about knowing. Knowing by remembering. And when we all remember, those of you who've reincarnated, you're going to remember all your past lives. And we're going to remember who this rod of iron is. We're going to remember, you're going to remember you. Not just everything else and everybody else. You're going to remember you. And that's why we get the statement that some will awaken to everlasting life and some to self-shame and self-condemnation. Nobody judges you but you. Your higher self is recording everything. Nothing is lost. It's all there in the hippocampus. It's all there in Pegasus in the heavens. It's like a recording device, and it's recording everything. And we call it memory. You know, we have this word membrane. Let me do this. Hold on. So we have this word membrane. It's a memory and it's a brain. When in your body, each cell has a membrane around it. And that membrane tells this, it's encoded with information that tells the cell what other cells can attach to it, what other elements or minerals or vitamins can attach to that cell. And so it weeds out to prevent what we call cancer, right? When something attaches to the cell that it's not encoded to, it distorts the signature and it mutates into what we call a cancer. So the membrane is the memory. It has memory and a brain of its own. Your heart has a brain of its own. Your sexual organs, they have a brain and a mind of their own. We don't decide who we love. You just don't. There is no decision about that. It just either is or is not. It has a mind of its own. You have a mind of your own. And these are all parts of the physical body. Each chakra literally has a mind of its own. And they've been out of whack. We've been out of whack for so long that we wouldn't know truth or what real natural is if it hit us upside the head. We wouldn't know. But we're going to when this mortality puts on immortality. Now, that is one of the few questions I have left, because I can see this in two ways. Because I've opened my third eye and I've had those out-of-body experiences to where I know I have a light body. So in my mind, in my experience, my flesh has already put on immortality. I already have my light body. I just got to shed this one. But I still have to leave open the fact that it's very possible that something's going to happen to us physically when this frequency changes as we really move into Aquarius, that indeed the body will become immortal. And that's its whole purpose. That's what it's been trying to do from the beginning. And before we're told we lived 1,000 years. Now we can't even get to 100 without breaking down and falling all to pieces. Something happened that we started mutating the wrong way. So a transmutation cycle was put in to bring us back. Nature kicked in its transmutation cycle. It started us at the bottom, and now it's taking us back up to the third eye. So down here you have Mars, and on this side is Aries, and on this side is Scorpio. Here we have Jupiter. On this side is Pisces, and on this side is Sagittarius. Now we're way down here. This is where we're at, way down here in Pisces. But we're moving up to Aquarius up here. Aquarius, Capricorn. We're not just moving from the lower chakras to the upper chakras. We're coming from the bottom all the way to the top. Down here, these two, this one, these two make up part of this axis, and then you have Mercury that is Virgo and Gemini. But we're in Pisces down here, and we got to come all the way up here. But we've got this guy down here holding us back with this rod of iron and all this war. I want to go back to Revelations now. Okay, we're in Revelation chapter 20. I really want to do 21, but we need to look at 20 before we can look at 21. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, air sign, having the key of the bottomless pit. Bottomless pit, a lot of times this is translated as the abyss. It's the abyss, and it means water. I don't know why they call it a pit of hellfire when it's a pit of water. To me, it's like the Pacific Ocean. And a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the old dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Water sign, dragon. And he cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and put a seal on him, that he should not deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a short season. So, you know that dragon has been in the pit. And he's been let out. We are now, to me, we are in the time. Let's just keep on. And I saw thrones, and they that sat on them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither received the mark upon their foreheads, nor in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. They lived and reigned with Chris 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again till the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that has part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power. But they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go forth to deceive the nations, should be once more, which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them to the battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. Now, to me, this is where we're headed. You can't have the battle of Armageddon, Gog and Magog, before the 1,000 years. It's after. And I'm really tired of preachers and TV evangelists and internet self-appointed theologians trying to tell us that we're going to have the battle of Armageddon and then 1,000 years of peace. Where the hell are you getting that? From hell, I guess. I guess I said it. When the 1,000 years are expired, then we go into the battle of Gog and Magog. Gog and Magog are the two pillars. The battle of fire and ice, like we always do this, over and over and over again. We're always doing this battle of fire and ice. The lunar pillar and the solar pillar. the masculine and the feminine. And we just keep doing that. Well, they're all cast into the lake of fire with brimstone. Lake, mutable. Fire, Sagittarius. Mutable, fire. Mutable, fire. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, whose face the earth and heaven fled away, and there was no place found for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which are written in the books according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it. We're in the sea right now. And in Pisces, and death and hell were delivered up, and the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. Well, what did you do with your time? I didn't do anything with it, but I was saved. I got baptized. I believed. Yeah, but what did you do? And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Sagittarius. That's when you'll be reincarnated. Let's go to the next one. I want to go to 21. Here we go. This is what we want. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. There's a new heaven, Aquarius, and a new earth, Capricorn. For the first heaven, Gemini, and the first earth, Taurus, were passed away, and there was no more sea, Pisces. And I, John, saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem. Oh, y'all are going to love this one. This came to me the other day, because S is a very unique letter. S, it means secret. There are certain letters. W means magic. But this S, we get the serpent on the pole. We get the $sign. It means secret. It means it's almost like a placeholder in a lot of instances. It's not an S in itself. It's substituting for something else. So I went through the gamut to see what it was substituting. And this is what I found. Let me see if I can. Let's go here. Oh, can't go there without this. There we go. So we have Jeru and Salim. And they tell us this means the city of peace. That Salim means of peace. This letter is hiding something. What's it hiding? Let's throw away the vowels. You're going to love this one. What's the J hiding? It's Peruthalim. It's Peruthalem. It's not Jerusalem. The next city, the next Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem is Peru. It's Peruthalim. Thalem. The Lamb. That's where it is. It sits between Lima and Cusco, Peru. It's part of Lima, Cusco, Machu Picchu. It's right in the middle of that triangle of those three. And it will be called Peruthalem. 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 Not Jerusalem. They are the serpent people. These people in Europe that claiming they're the serpent race, they're not. The only serpent they have in them, they got from China. China, South America is the feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl. Well, his feathers got ripped off of him, and he was cast into China as the dragon. China has the fire-breathing dragon, but he has no feathers. His belly is on the ground now. That dragon in China don't fly. It flops around the streets.